Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Quarantine Concert Series. It's a Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. This is a matinee showing. And I just wanted to take a second. First, my name is Kabir Segal. I am your host, and this is show number 15. For those who are tuning in for the first time, we're all practicing, as you know, by now, we're all practicing social distancing. And one of the consequences of this is that a lot of people in the creative sector have lost their performance opportunities. These are artists, musicians, these are the producers, engineers, concert bookers, anyone who touches the live music space is having a difficult time because effectively all concerts have been canceled. So we've started this broadcast in earnest. We've done, again, 15 shows. It's been an incredible experience. I've met a lot of new artists and been able to feature some artists that I've collaborated with as well. Two announcements. First, if you want to watch this, we're on all streaming platforms, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. Just tune in there and, you can comment, and especially in this broadcast, you can comment. I'll try to ask the guests to respond to your comments. Number two, if you want to be a guest on this program, please let me know via Facebook or Instagram. We do have a long waiting list now to get on the broadcast. And that's because I think hopefully what we're doing is resonating. And we're on every night at 10 p.m. Eastern, except on the weekends. We have two showings. So we hope that this sort of consistent effort is resonating with people. And just yesterday, we crossed over 75,000 views for one of our videos. So it seems like people all over the world are tuning into this. And we're really, really grateful for your support and your enthusiasm and, the music should bring us together, right? And that's what we're doing. So enough talking from me. I'm very excited to welcome to the broadcast two musicians who have collaborated with, I think, on a few projects now. And it's been a real pleasure to work with them. I just am mesmerized by their performance. Please welcome to the show, Carlos Barbosa Lima and Larry Del Casale. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hi, how are you? Hey.
Hey,
Hey,
tutto
Kabir.
ben, tutto ben.
Ah,
Tell Carlos tutto ben for me.
tutto bene, Carlo.
Tudo bem.
So
Stato bene. Yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
So let me ask you to begin with, um, both of you gentlemen, how has the pandemic affected you both professionally and personally?
How Kabir asked how the pandemic has affected us personally and musically. Is that what you said? Musically? Yes.
Yeah, of course, it's a major event, probably the biggest since a century ago. But one has to be always positive. There is no other way. And just cool the head, not being anxious and take the appropriate measures. And I think that's very important, the attitude, because it always starts in the brain. And optimism is my message.
I tell you, being a New Yorker, grown up in the Bronx, and now in Westchester County, all hotspots for the pandemic, I feel best when I play, so that when we're playing music, man, it's
Same with
so,
me.
yeah.
When I play music or I'm writing music, I have new ideas. I always put down drafting ideas, even for own pieces too. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been rough. Hopefully, a lot of gigs were canceled, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Which gigs of yours were canceled?
We had a sellout gig up at the Bean Runner in Peekskill, which the day before we got canceled out. Carlos can I say the Brauer Concerto?
Yeah.
Carlos is premiering the Brauer Concerto, new guitar concerto in Nashville, Tennessee. That was canceled. And we just made it under the wire to do the jazz forum up in Tarrytown. That happened like a week before they started canceling. And Carlos got in a gig at
I had a major guitar festival in Dallas, Texas at UTD. It was a huge success. A lot of efforts in which I also taught master classes. It was a beautiful week. Would be 1 week later that would have been cancelled probably,
yeah.
But I was very lucky with that. This is why thankful for being lucky all my life. There is on the edge.
And that was a nice payday. So like,
Very good.
some gigs, you know how it is. Some gigs
This
pay
is
more than others.
very
That was on the money. So
Perfect.
we're waiting
Well,
for that. Yeah.
I consider myself lucky to be with you gentlemen, and I consider our audience to be lucky to be hearing you both perform. So what will you begin your performance with tonight, or today rather?
Carlos, Kabir would like to know, and the world would like to know, what are you going to start with tonight, this afternoon?
Yeah, it's going to be a tribute in the whole program, tribute to the music of Brazil, my original country. And I will start with two pieces that reflects very much the great city of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, who is also under siege because of these health warnings. I will start with Interrogando, which is a piece by João Pernambuco, a wonderful guitarist from about a century ago, a little more, friends with Villa-Lobos, and who probably helped him very much becoming aware too, of this false line between classical and popular music. That Villa-Lobos was a champion. And João Pernambuco, interrogando means questioning, asking questions. And he was a pretty good guitarist, never knew how to read or write music, amazing.
And that is on the CD, Delegado, which Kabir was executive producer on.
Yeah.
So everything we will be performing today is from Delegado.
Yeah, I will play two pieces starting. Also, the second one will be part of that spirit of Rio, the favelas, is Tristeza. It was a great hit in the Brazilian Carnival, 1960s. And it's amazing how that song is alive today, because it's very beautiful. It's my arrangement of the tune, I try to portray Rio a little bit different nowadays. Sometimes crazy, but beautiful as always.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the CD. Ladies and gentlemen, Carlos Barbosa Lima, my partner, my friend.
Bravo, bravo,
Maestro.
maestro. Hey, before you start, okay,
Well,
stop moving around on the chair. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Amazing. That was Carlos featuring the dog. What's the dog's name?
the dog's name is Prince.
Carlos and Prince. Beautiful, just beautiful rendition.
This dog loves Carlos. He loves Carlos.
But we all love Carlos. We all love Carlos.
we love. I'm gonna go give the dog a bone so he like chills out.
That's cool.
Can you give Prince something or take him upstairs? Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, my daughter just walked in, so we're cool. She's the techie of the.
I want to know that this concert is this concert series is pet friendly, unlike many New York apartment buildings. We are definitely pet friendly, and we want people to see what it's like, where the creativity happens, and if it happens at home with Prince, Prince should be part of the show. So
Yeah, we rehearse here all the. Whenever Carlos is in New York, it's always gigs in New York. So
Yeah.
we're always here rehearsing or recording, right here in Peekskill, which is a
Yeah.
mile. The studio's a mile down the road. Alchemy Post Sound. They got 2 Emmy awards, and that was we got a great sound on that last recording.
Yeah.
Very pleased with it.
It's amazing. And next time you play at Carnegie Hall, you got to bring Prince. You had to have Prince to play with you. So
Have Prince come running out right into the recital.
yeah, exactly, with a bow tie on. Hey, talk to me about Delicado. Who are the musicians that joined you on Delicado? Tell me about them.
Well, the mastermind behind Delegado was you, Kabir, and Carlos. It started moving in. Well, you asked about the musicians. the idea of it being from Rio and the music of Rio, right away, you have to have the top New York players who are Brazilian and who do nothing. Well, not, I wouldn't say they do nothing, but they're known as the top cats in New York City. You had on percussion, the Duca da Fonseca, a dear friend of mine. We both love him. We know him for years and years. On bass, upright bass, was Nilson Mata, another great New York player. And on keyboard, Elio Alves. All top, these guys work constantly. The Duca and his group, Trio de Page, which we had 2/3 of the group on the album. We had Nielsen and the Duca. And they do a stint every summer at Dizzy's Club between 2 and 3 weeks, every night, sometimes 21 days. And so I think this year they had to move it out to almost a month. So those are the musicians on the album, myself and Carlos on guitar.
That's awesome. And how did you go about choosing the pieces? Like, there's a lot of Brazilian music in the songbook. So how did you make the decision of, what made it in, what didn't make it? I mean, and it's full disclosure. Yes, I helped produce the record, so it's part of these conversations. But I wanted to hear it in your words.
Kabir asks, how did we go about getting the material for the Delegado CD?
Well,
Now we know it was from Rio, so we kept it contained there. Rio, past and present. Go ahead, Carlos.
yes, the idea definitely from Kabir, and then I'm very familiar not only with the music, but I did all the arranging for this project, and because it's to recreate in a solo guitar what normally would be not just the guitar being an accompanying instrument.
Right.
And there were some forerunners in the Brazilian history who did a great job. Was Luis Bonfá, for instance, was fantastic, and also Baden Powell, for instance. They extended the range of the guitar playing using the classical technique. This is why I preach to all my students, and very much it's what's happening today. Everybody, including people like Charlie Bird, Joe Pass, Jim Bertoncini,
John Pizzarelli.
John Pizzarelli, they all went for that. And there are others,
Not to throw a plug for John Pizzarelli because he doesn't need it, but he's been holed up in quarantine, and I think for the past few days he's been putting pieces out on Facebook, solo guitar, jazz pieces. He played when he plays, and he was playing a 7-string nylon. It was what we do. It was a classical technique with jazz music, and that's what Delegado is.
I will go beyond that, because when the whole bossa movement came to the United States, it made a big, huge impact, because the guitar was not the electric guitar being played, played like we always did between people in Brazil, but with a classical technique. I would call really the Spanish tradition applied to the guitar. That's it, yeah. But definitely the Brazilians took a step beyond, thanks to Villa-Lobos too, and all the people who came after him. And the guitar is really the soul of not only Brazil, all of Latin America, from Rio Grande to the south, and it's part of the people's life, and whatever hardships, the people get together, just play the guitar, and enjoy themselves. There's no other way here,
That's it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What would you like to perform next?
Delegado? Title track?
Yes, title track. I can talk a little bit about.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I don't know. Do we have time? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
Delicado is the piece that we are going to play, and the tune was composed by Valdir Azevedo, who came from the northeastern region of Brazil and settled in Rio. It was a big hit in 1950s and then abroad, not only Brazil. So this is an arrangement I wrote, and I love this piece very much, in which the coming from the people from the Northeast changed even the scope of city like São Paulo, because it became happier, Not that they were unhappy, but gave another edge to life, Yeah. Delicado, it's my arrangement. I need the music. The music, the score.
Good thing you said that.
Yeah.
Hey, Larry, one more thing. When you sit in the other chair, it kind of squeaks.
This one?
That one's fine. Yeah.
I'm not going to even bother going over there. Yeah, I got when I heard you say that, I said,
Okay, cool.
I'm on the floor now.
You're with Prince. All right, cool.
Yeah.
This piece is based on the baião and chachado, which is a variation of a baião, the rhythms.
Yeah. I know it doesn't.
Something.
I know it doesn't sound like much, me applauding, but I am reflecting people who are tuning in all over the world,
Wow.
and that was brilliant. We have your cousins watching. Angela Ullaberg says hello to my cousin Larry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hi, Ange.
And we have Kevin on Twitter. I'll put it up on the screen. Beautiful, great job. So you're getting love from all over. Awesome. So let me ask you, when did you guys meet?
Where?
When and where? What was
When?
the moment you guys fell in love?
Great. I'm gonna make it short.
Okay.
We, when did we meet and when did we begin playing?
Yeah,
Oh.
you tell this.
We met in Puerto Rico,
96.
back in
1996.
96, 1996. Dear friend Ernesto Cordero, great composer from Puerto Rico, got us together. He said you would love Carlos. You would love playing with him and meeting him. And I had known Carlos growing up my whole life, and I was always amazed by the way he played. He blended classical and popular Brazilian music in a classical arrangement. They're not easy. His arrangements are not easy to play. They're at a high level. So we got together, and then we formulated a friendship, and I was afraid to ask him to play with him. So one day I said, do you think I could play one piece with you, just trying it? And we did Luisa, which is the title track from the next CD. I'm glad I don't know if I should even be saying this, but it's we're thinking about it. Same kind of direction and format, but then when 03?
2003.
Three.
Yeah, March 2003.
Right. So what's that? My math is 6 years later, 7 years later. I finally we did a gig. We did a really big gig.
You produced?
Yeah, I produced that concert at Carnegie Recital Hall, and we did Luisa on that, and from there, we just kept more and more and more and more.
In that concert, Larry was also busy with the business going on, the tickets, guests, and various things going on, checking the hall, and but he played beautifully. Very confident.
That's a big compliment.
That piece is not really easy, Luisa. Really has its ins and outs, there.
Yeah, I love that.
And then that was the beginning, 2003, 2 days after St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, that's right. So that's how we met.
So you just celebrated your anniversary together.
Yeah.
See, I'm keeping track.
I'm
keeping track.
So how many?
I was going to say one of the sayings in my tradition, in Indian tradition, is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And it seems like in your case, Larry, like the teacher has appeared, the student is ready, and now you're playing alongside the master himself.
That's really a great saying. Yeah.
Yeah. When you think about playing with Larry, like, is it that you show deference and you let him take the solos, or how do you think about accompaniment? How do you navigate between, showing his mastery, but also creating space for yourself?
The question was, for those of you at home, we only have one pair of headphones in my house, so I have to tell Carlos what Kabir asked. He said, how do I create space for myself when we're playing, and do I always let you do the solos? And
no, this is very democratic.
Yes.
It's an exchange. It's like the principle of orchestration, in which you shift from here to there. It naturally changes the color. If I don't believe in this, like it was between double guitars in the past, there was a definitely first part, and definitely a second part. In this way, no, it's a total interaction. And merging too.
Right, and just to bring that point straight home, when we recorded the Micro Piezas by Leo Brouwer, Carlos actually was changing the parts like midway. Like I'd have to read the first guitar part, then jump down, read the second, because he liked different colors that I was doing as opposed to what he was doing. So he was like, I think I'd like to play that section because I have this technique that really sounds good there, and you should play that section because of your tone. So uh, it does get scary sometimes. I'm like, oh, I hope he doesn't give me too hard of a part, you know, because
I behave
Yeah.
on that.
he takes it into consideration.
Yeah, and also I many times, I add a little bit of my bass because I have a way of using my thumb, for instance, which is not usual with most guitarists, in which I try to make it sound like a double bass. It's the same concept.
Yeah, and a lot. I think almost every piece we play,
Yeah.
I would 90%. Carlos has a C for the guitarists in the
Yeah.
world there. In internet world, we have C and G tuning
Yeah.
in the bass.
Yeah.
Right now we're tuned to E, right?
Yeah, the standard tuning.
For the next piece.
Yeah.
But what do you? And then maybe you do another piece after this. You change tunings.
Yes, exactly. So for this one is the so-called standard tuning,
Standard E.
which is based in the Phrygian mode from Spain. like with the E and A. But the color changes naturally. The strings are much better in our days, and all those ideas that come out of musical necessity. Is nothing fancy about it. Just brings the music a little bit and changes the colors too. We are going to play now a great classic of the Brazilian music, Tico Tico, which is name of a bird, migrating bird that came from Brazil. From Portugal to Brazil,
I love this song.
used to steal the cornbread from the other birds and run away. So there are lyrics for that piece, in which it's in the styles of the chorinhos, which are the lighter form of the choro, very up-tempo. And one of the forerunners, too, was definitely Ernesto Nazaré and Pixinguinha, but then this piece was done in the early 1930s. It became a big hit with the Camille Miranda group throughout Europe. The first time I think the Brazilian music really took a big step
forward
in terms of recognition abroad. So we are going to play this piece, which I arranged for the double guitar, inspired with some little touches in an original arrangement done by my teacher Isaías Sávio, but I did the overall arrangement for this version now. Yeah.
And one last thing. It's Kabir's favorite piece, I think, or one of them. So this one goes out to Kabir.
It's my first dedication. Thank you.
This one's going out straight to Kabir.
All right.
For all the beautiful work you're doing
Thank you.
and putting musicians to work in this really, really difficult time.
Yes, it's very important to have that support and somehow sponsorship too, Yeah.
And I wrote the bass part out for Kabir, so I want everyone to know that one of these gigs in New York, he's going to come down and sit in with us and play.
Okay.
You got it. You got it. Standing ovation. Standing ovation. We love you down here in Atlanta. We love you down here. Dude, that was amazing.
Thank you.
I love the energy. What is the time signature? What's the tempo that you take it at, that song?
We should, the tempo. What's the tempo we take this piece at? About?
Me go to say allegretto a 100.
About 108, 110.
108, 110.
Just hit it at that for a second. See what's at the beginning. Just at the beginning for the people. Yeah, go ahead. At that tempo. Hit it.
But this is depends on the mood.
Depends on the feeling.
Also the time of the day. If we play this in the evening, the later, different tempos. So that's the style of the shows.
Yeah, in the afternoon we go a little more laid back.
Yeah, it's a siesta version.
It's a siesta version.
98.
Well, I was playing along to the album, and it seems a little faster on the album, right?
Yeah.
And I was really kind of struggling to keep up. I got it eventually, but if we're taking it at that tempo, I'll be there sooner rather than later to play with you.
Yeah. That's a good tempo. That tempo.
Yeah, I like that tempo.
Audio.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Go ahead. Yeah.
I want to say something real quick. Everyone watching at home, you saw how Larry, he's a teacher. He was kind of explaining the tempo, and Larry has a teaching career as well. Larry, talk to us about your career as a teacher, about your students, who you like to teach. Is it beginners? Is it intermediate? Tell us about your teaching career.
Well, I just retired, so there was 32 years that I was teaching music for public school. I taught all grades from kindergarten to 12th grade, and at the last 8 or 9 years, I had a jazz. I also taught choral music. So I had a jazz vocal ensemble, and called the City Singers here in Peekskill. They were amazing. They're still around. You know, new kids farm in and farm out. You know, they graduate, and the next set comes up. But one of the highlights of that, the choral group, was opening up for the Manhattan Transfer. We opened up for them at the Paramount Center for the Arts in Peekskill. And I also instituted the first guitar program ever in Peekskill, teaching kids how to play classical guitar. I learned so much about teaching and playing, coming into my playing from teaching other kids, and I still teach privately today. And that's why when I think about my teaching career, which was all in New York City, first 14 years in New York, then the last 18 in Peekskill. When I'm with Carlos and he's teaching me something about music, it's amazing because Carlos talks about how his teachers, Guido Santorsola and Isaiah Savio, how they taught him. And it really comes full circle, the teaching all around. And I take that and I use it in my teaching. So I love teaching. I still do. It helps. It's a help to you.
Are you accepting private lessons?
Oh yeah.
All right. So anyone who's watching, who's much like me, falling in love with how these two gentlemen play and play the guitar, check out Larry's website, casalemusic.com. You see it at the bottom. There's a link to his career as a teacher. Hit him up for private lessons. I strongly encourage it, because if you can even play a tenth as well as Larry, you're going to be, booked up and down gigs this side of the Mississippi River. So I'm a big fan of these two. And also, I should say, people ask me, who are the artists you like to work with? And I said, artists who are kind and friendly and professional. And both you gentlemen are just like always on it and always demonstrating like the highest professionalism. So it's a real pleasure
Thank you.
to collaborate with you both.
So, playing at we're professionals, and
Yeah.
we're very kind, and he loves working with us, Kabir.
Wonderful. I also enjoyed very much with Kabir,
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you. What would you like to play? How many songs do you have left? One song or two songs
We
left?
have one. I don't know if you want to do Luisa.
Or play um solo, maybe. Roberto do Luiz, if you want. If you want. He's not in the Delicado CD.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But the Delicado is the symbol.
This is a
Decided.
negotiation that
Yeah,
happened.
there's a negotiation happening.
There's a lot of love between these two. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We'll take a solo from Carlos, and maybe we could think about Luisa and O Chovendo.
That sounds nice. Let's do the solo piece.
All right.
So I'll play this piece called Sambolero, which is in the Delicado CD, and it's a kind of an encounter between samba canção, samba song, and the bolero, but very much creation of Luiz Bonfá. And then I took a step beyond, based in the original idea of the author, who was my dear friend from when I was 9 years old, actually. So I'll play for you Sambolero by Luiz Bonfá.
Bravo, bravo.
Nice.
That brought a tear to my eye.
I mean, he knows how to play, man. He knows how to play.
Yeah, he's been doing it. He's been doing it. So impressive, so beautiful. What a wonderful way to spend a Saturday afternoon.
We are going to play one of the most beautiful romantic tunes that Tom Jobim wrote, called Luisa. And this was actually a big hit in Brazil in the early 1980s, yes. And including was a favorite of my father right before he passed. He passed fairly early, He was only 63. He died in 83, but he loved that music. And I mentioned to Tom Jobim, whom I had met just 2 or 3 years before in New York City, and we worked on arranging his music, in which he was very much impressed by the possibilities of the guitar, polyphonically. Including, he said, it's nothing to alter the piano at all. You can do everything on the guitar. It's a different dimension of sound, including the harmonic sounds too. So Luisa.
Thank you.
So good. So good. You just lifted my spirits on a quarantine Saturday
Yeah,
afternoon.
really.
And I think for many, many more watching as well. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on this matinee showing of the Quarantine Concert Series. For everyone watching, check out their website. Go to Spotify. Please stream Delicado and their other albums. Seems like Larry gives a hint that something's in the works, so we'll stay tuned for that. If you want to play the guitar, or you want to have kids that want to learn how to play the guitar, hit up Larry on his website, and maybe he can hook you up with some great lessons, maybe even some virtual lessons, getting used to this technology now.
I've been Skype lessons a lot past couple of
Yeah,
days.
there you go. There you go. So look, I also want to give a shout out to our incredible sound and engineering team, Sandra and Camilo. Yep.
Yeah.
If you are a artist, musician who wants to get any musical services done, mixing, mastering, tuning, check out their website right there, soundworksrecording.com. They're wonderful, kind, friendly people. They are some of the most incredible professionals I've come across, and I've worked with a ton of engineers. They're among the best. Check them out online. And I just wanted to give one more kind of for your information. Tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, today's a double bill. So your work is done, Larry. I'm still going today. So 10 p.m. Eastern tonight, we have the great Veronica Swift, who is just one of the most dynamic singers, Mac Avenue recording artist. She was just been on tour with Jazz at Lincoln Center. She was featured on an album that I produced recently. So we'll talk about all that. But I really want you guys to tune in to check out Veronica, because she is something else. And what she's able to do with her voice and her mastery of craft will make all of you be like, wow, that is, this is someone you'll be hearing about for a generation.
She's really on the scene right now, man. She's really
totally. We're very lucky that she's joining us. So until tonight, have a great afternoon, and God bless. Keep the music going.
Thank you, Kabir. Thank you to Kabir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Kabir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maestro.
So long, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.